Art of Winning. I'm William Farmer. Thank you. Happy New Year to you, everybody. And let's make it a good new year. What's within our control, let's control to the nth degree with happiness and joy. What's out of our control, let's learn to let go and decide to be as creative as we possibly can. Now, obviously, this is business, the art of winning, so we need a team. And even if you're a team of one, okay, realize this right now. You're not going to make a fortune on one person, all right? You may be fantastic even on crypto and doing all the trading, but look at how you can escalate your business, your portfolio, so other people are joining you in your endeavor and be the best you possibly can be. If you're satisfied, if you're just happy doing what you want to do, hey, that's fine too. I congratulate you. There's nothing more joyful than someone who knows that they are in the zone of their genius and they're enjoying it. So business, the art of winning. So my goal today is to talk about overcoming limiting beliefs to succeed in business. That's probably why I started with that. I didn't even know that, right? Overcoming our limiting beliefs to succeed in business. So what are limiting beliefs? What are they? How do they affect us? How do they stop us? Well, I guess some of the, I've got a whole smorgasbord of limiting beliefs. So I think last podcast, I talked about my small town, and I was driving home after one of the Dale Carnegie sessions. This is in the time where we ran the program over 14 weeks. It actually started at 6:30 p.m. and finished at 10 p.m. Now, I actually drove 2 hours to get to that class, and that meant 2 hours leaving the class at 10. And so I'd get home maybe 12 sometimes because I wanted to grab a meal on the way. I wouldn't get home until 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'm driving back from a place called Palmerston North to Wairau. It's about a 2-hour drive at that particular time. And the snow is starting to hit my windscreen once I pass a small town called Taihape. Yes, these names are real, Wairau, Taihape. And the snow started to come down on my screen. And I could see my window wiper getting heavier and heavier. But I managed to slowly inch my way to Wairau, and I saw the lights shining through the misty window screen because it was getting very misty in the car, and I could see the Wairau pub, and had a big bottle of Lion Brown at that particular time. It was popular for that particular bar, and I was going, oh my gosh, I think I might have outgrown this fish tank. Up until that point in time, the person that I admired the most was the person who owned that pub, because he was the only business person that I knew. Plus, his daughter was quite hot, and she was about the only female that was really attractive in Wairau. And so I thought, wow, I've been doing this Dale Carnegie course for 3 months. They've asked me back as a helper. Maybe I've outgrown this fish tank. It was my first thought where I thought, I'm going to leave. I'd actually brought land in this small little town, and it was raised land, and it was 2 sections, and I'd used a lot of my wealth at that particular time. I think I'd saved $19,000, so I used all $19,000, and the idea was that for it to escalate and build these chalets, so the chalets would look over the mountain. I was meant to stay there, so there I am. I'm sitting down with my dad, and my father was my hero, by the way. And if you've ever seen the movie The Lord of the Rings, if you can imagine Gandalf without a beard, and he would look me in the eyes and he'd say, Bill, because he used to call me Bill, Bill, are you sure? Are you sure you're going to leave? You've just bought this land. You've got a fantastic job. You earn more money than me in your new role as a leader. Why the heck would you leave this small town? Now, because I respected my father so much, I had not only a limiting belief, I had his limiting belief, and plus I had to go against the person that I respected the most in the world. I tell you what, that Dale Carnegie course in building self-confidence had to kick in. The theory had to become the practical. And I looked at my father and I said, Dad, this is your fish tank. This ain't mine. And there's a bit of silence. He looked at me and went, boy, you might be right, but I hope you're just not making the wrong decision. So So the first limiting belief can be from the people that love you the most. Oh, you'll never do that. Oh, that's not going to work. And they don't mean it. Or maybe they do. Sometimes they do. But mostly the ones who really love you, they don't mean it to hold you back. They just don't want you to fall on your face. They don't want you to fail. And so you actually have to have the confidence to challenge the narrative. And the narrative is other people's idea of reality, not yours. You have to decide what your reality is. You have to take the red pill from the Matrix, right? And you have to wake up. And it's your responsibility to wake up. Look, you can decide to, delegate that to somebody else or never wake up, but it's going to come at a cost. And one of the reasons that I think depression is such a heightened state in our world today is because, when I was a young entrepreneur at 20 years old, that's 30 something years ago, I had my dad saying, hey, are you sure you're making the right decisions? I had my brothers who loved me very much say the same thing. But in regards to negative feedback, that was it. Nowadays, you put an idea out on social media and you might get 100, 200, 300, 400 people saying, don't do it. You've got a group collective saying that you're doing the wrong thing. Now, obviously, depending on what page you are, you might have 500 people saying, go ahead and do it, make that happen. But, a lot of people that I've worked with and coached, they're actually having to work through the narrative, other people's narrative, not theirs, others. And so you're just going to have the ignorance, the confidence of ignorance. I value that sometimes. What do I mean? Look, I don't know how the movie's going to end, but nor do you, but you can't tell me how the movie's going to end because I'm the star. It's my movie and I'm going to go into this direction. Yes, I might fall on my face, but I'll fall forward. I won't fall back. And even if I do fall back occasionally, I'll still get up, get on my knees, and I'll start moving forward. And, we win every single battle. We don't quit, right? We just don't quit. We hang on and we keep going. So one of the limiting beliefs is the narrative. What's your narrative? Make sure you understand what you're saying to yourself. And we do it so subtly. Yeah, I'll try and get that promotion. Well, don't stop trying. Do. Okay. It always reminds me of the story of, there you are on the gurney, the lights are coming past, and then you go, oh, doctor, am I going to be okay? Well, I'll try and do my best. What? You want to get off that gurney, man. You don't want that doctor who's going to try to do his best. Okay. Do your best. Don't try anything. And so what are the subtle language that creeps in? Oh, that's good enough for William, but it's not going to be good enough for me. I'll never be able to do that. That's a story we tell ourselves. Be conscious of the stories that you tell yourself. I've managed to do some marvelous things in my life, but if I actually had to measure the potential of my skill set against the reality of what I've done, no, I have not. There was more. There was more in the tank. There still is more to go. I've just written my next 30-year plan. I'm 50 something, right? That'll make me 85. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there, right? In their 80s and their 90s. I admire people like Warren Buffett. I admire some of the things that he talks about. He always talks about the customer-centric business. He talks about why that's really important to when he invests. He doesn't just invest in the business, he invests in the leader. Look, really basic, simple principles. I know they're being challenged in our world today, but truth doesn't need to actually justify itself. It folds on itself. It just is. And there are some truths around what he shared as an investor. I don't believe in everything that he talks about, or some of his philosophies, but there are a lot of his philosophies I do actually respect. And that's pretty much consistent with every human being that I know. There are things, even consistent with me, okay, my own self. There's a lot of things about William Farmer I actually really like. There's a lot of things about William Farmer I'd love to improve, okay? And there's a lot of things about my personality I dislike immensely. And that's what it's like for yourself. What's it like for others? Of course, some of the greats of the greats, they have a fantastic upside. And if you really look deep enough on any of the greats of the greats of the greats, they have a downside. They have a real downside. I know Gandhi was a great person who believed in passive resistance. if you actually read any of the notes around some of the things that his children talked about Gandhi, you think, wow, is that the same guy? Same with Einstein. Einstein did some amazing things around maths, physics. But if you read any of the history around family life, again, may not be so hot. So that's what it's like. You've got to realize you're a duality. You have this amazing ability, this great strength. You've also got this other side, okay, that you're constantly fighting against. Realize that's always going to be. It's there to lift. Okay, a kite can't fly on a fine day. Why? There's not enough wind to lift it. If I went sailing and I didn't trim the sails, the boat wouldn't move. We're in a time that I've never seen of great, massive, global change. It is frustrating. It's been frustrating for a lot of us. But the reality is that we have to adjust. We have to move. We have to say, where is the opportunity in this? Or we could give up. And the narrative could be, COVID's just knocked me around. It's just not going to be the same. The Great Resignation, I'm going to be one of them. I've decided that, I don't need to chase the mighty dollar or whatever it is, or political systems, which one you choose. All of this is in front of us. And our narrative is the most important narrative that you'll ever listen to, ever write, ever disseminate, ever adjust, ever trim. Those are the things that are most important around limiting beliefs, is what you've decided to be in the program. Now, just like a default button, how we have our computers. And so sometimes, you write a program and it goes straight to the default button. Make sure you know what that default button is. All right. Now, for some of us, it's laziness. Oh, I can win, but I get lazy. And then you default to laziness. Sometimes it's procrastination. But, the real reason why you procrastinate is you're scared. You're afraid. And if you actually looked at what you're scared of and what you're afraid of, instead of running away from it, or running around it, and then just deal with it. I'm afraid of public speaking. I'm afraid of intimate connection. I'm afraid of falling on my face. The list goes on. And see it. And then once you see it, I don't know why, but I've seen this in my classes. As soon as you see it, it has less power. It's like the Wizard of Oz, right? The wonderful Wizard of Oz, go behind the curtain, someone's pulling all these arms and strings and make himself bigger than he is. And once you see, you can't unsee. And once you see some of those self-limiting things, some of those things that you're sabotaging, some of the things that you're writing, forget about fake news, you're writing your own fake news. And once you start to see it, it loses its power. And then you can change the narrative. Well, what's the reality of the story? What's really going on? Okay. What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I attracted this? What if I got some help? What if I got some coaching? What if I got some processes in? What if I kept myself accountable to those processes? All of a sudden, what was, your truth and reality has changed because you have made the difference. You have made that change. So first one is overcoming limiting beliefs to succeed. Is realize you are the narrative. Next is other people who love you might write a narrative for you. It doesn't need to be swallowed by you. Next is you will have cultural narrative. You will have social narrative. You will have peer narrative. You will have your beautiful partner narrative. You will have your children's narrative. Make sure you disseminate. Disseminate for you. There's no one like you. There'll be no one who follows after you. You are unique. Okay? No snowflake is the same, and never again will someone like you walk upon this planet. So no one can tell you that, it's all going to fit, one size fits all, because you're not all. And so the more you understand yourself, the more you understand how you operate and work. That's why professional development is so important. And that's why personal development is so good. Many years ago, I had a guy come up to me and said, look, Will, I want you to get involved in property. I think this is a natural fit for you. And I'll guide you. And look, hindsight, I think, what property is doing right now and how it's escalating, that probably would have been a good financial business decision for me to take. But then I also had to ask myself, what gives me the most joy? And this podcast, training people, helping other leaders train people, my staff, just gives me pure joy. I love doing what I do. Yes, that other part of the narrative, that negative part, hey, I don't know about property, I don't understand it so much. I'm now working on that. I'm actually wanting to invest. It doesn't matter that I'm whatever age I am. I've decided to change my narrative. Cryptocurrencies are all big. Now, look, Warren Buffett doesn't particularly like cryptocurrency. That's one of the things I sort of disagree with. But my understanding, my limited understanding, was like 0.0000. And now my understanding is probably 2. But that's a lot further than 0. And I'm going to keep looking more at that. And what it actually has escalated in me is not just crypto, but what about shares? I've never thought about shares because I had a narrative in my head that I wasn't very financial savvy, and I only wanted to go down the track that I really, really understood. So I'm starting to play new keys on my piano, and it's not age relevant. And one of the things that I have observed with some of the great CEOs that I've worked with, continue to work with now, but will work with in the future, is they don't tap out. They don't stop. They don't decide, hey, this is it. I'm here. I've arrived. They decide, hey, what's next? How can I escalate? And I love, people like Warren Buffett and some of these amazing individuals that we have in the world who are not ageists. They just get on and keep on. And look, it's not about money anymore. It's about creation. It's about expansion. It's about deciding, hey, what else? I'm interested in this part of the movie. I've done that part. What's the next part of the movie? How does it end? It doesn't have to. So anyway, quite philosophical today. It's been philosophical because the subject's philosophical. Overcoming your limiting beliefs to succeed. Okay, one piece of advice. What is it? Make sure you understand your own narrative. Don't buy everybody else's. Get honest with yourself. See what you're really afraid of. Look it between the eyes and say, you know what? You don't have power over me. I'm going to win. I'm going to do these things. Be a constant learner. I like podcasts. I'm starting to become addicted to it. Grant Cardone is someone that I work with. I love his stuff. He's a little bit older than me. It looks really cool, really, really fit. The 10X organization has been awesome in regards to challenging my thinking. I think great coaches seek other great coaches. They know the value of it. So, hey, this has been Business, the Art of Willing. And I'm William Farmer. Remember, write your own story. Sponsored by our Dale Carnegie course run in February 23rd, 24th, 25th. Hope to see you there as part of your journey to new narratives.